Have you ever heard a specific piece of advice so many times that after a while you almost don't even hear the advice anymore? For example, save for retirement, or eat less sweets, or work out daily. You know, these are all good things that we should be doing, but we hear them all over the place that after a while, it's just so common that we almost don't even internalize it anymore. Every once in a while though, we hear one of these simple pieces of advice and it hits us to the core, and it's kind of just like, wow, why didn't I grasp onto that sooner? That's exactly what happened to me. This piece of advice is so simple and I had heard it 1,000 times before, but this time around it was a little bit different, and let me explain why. Hey guys, I'm Bryce from sanesense.com, where we talk about everything from personal finance to real estate investing. We try to put out new content just like these every single week, so if you like what you see, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and of course be sure to hit the like button as well, because it really helps us out with the YouTube algorithm. I want to share with you guys this little snippet of advice that totally changed the way that I think about personal finance and just money in general. In fact, I'm a little bit embarrassed to say that it had such a profound effect on my life, because when I share it with you, you're gonna think, wait, really? That's it? So getting straight into it, the piece of advice that changed the way I think about money is this: never lose money. Okay, whoa. Before you run away, just give me a second and let me explain to you why this simple piece of advice had such a profound effect on my life. I have a brother-in-law named Kelton, and he is a mechanical genius. If something has an engine, he can fix it. It's a pretty rare sight if you see Kelton walking around and he doesn't have either a wrench in his hand or some tool of some sort. Oftentimes I'll walk into his shop and he's knee-deep in an engine bay, he's covered head to toe in grease. I mean, this guy just lives and breathes for anything with an engine. So a couple years ago when my wife and I were dating, my wife took me over to her parents' house for the first time. We sat down to a nice home-cooked meal, it was delicious, and then afterwards we went outside into the backyard just to enjoy the rest of the evening. I remember walking into the backyard and kind of turning the corner of the house, and as I turned the corner, I saw this row of power toys. And I'm not exaggerating here. There must have been at least 17 pit bikes, there must have been 6 dirt bikes, maybe 3 four-wheelers, a couple razors, there was probably 3 or 4 snowmobiles, and I'm not exaggerating. I mean, there were just rows and rows and rows of toys. So I turned to my wife, or I guess she was my girlfriend at the time. I turned around to her and I said, "Are all of these your families? Like, you guys must be freaking loaded." And my wife, she kind of just laughed to herself and she said, "No, we don't own any of them. They belong to my brother." So I looked over to her brother and I said, "How much did all this cost? This must be a fortune that you spent on all this." And with this smug little look, Kelton looked right at me and he's like, "I didn't spend a dime on any of it." And when he said that, I was like, "Wait, what do you mean you didn't spend any on it?" And he said, "No, really, I didn't spend a dime on any of this." Obviously looking confused, I remember turning back around to the row of toys, and all of this probably cost $30,000 if I had to put a price tag on it. And I didn't believe him. There's no way that he got $30,000 of toys for free. So Kelton went on and he explained to me how he did it, and it's really a simple process. What he would do is he would look on Facebook and Craigslist and he would look for, say he's looking for a four-wheeler. He would find something that's not brand new, definitely a few years old, probably 5 to 7 years old. Say it was listed for sale for $1,200. What he would do is he'd reach out to the seller and he would haggle with them and negotiate and get that price down to maybe $1,000 or something a decent amount less than what the sellers were originally asking. So he'd go over, look it over, just make sure that everything looked like it was in good shape, and then he'd buy this four-wheeler. Now he would ride it and use it and play with it for the rest of the summer, and then a couple months later he would turn right around and sell it for, say, $1,400. He would literally do nothing to enhance the value of the vehicle. I remember asking him, I was like, "So you don't put new tires on it? You don't do oil changes? You don't do any of that?" And he said, "No, I don't touch it, because if I put money into that, that's money that I would never ever make back." So now Kelton is $400 richer. He has his original $1,000 back, and he got a free toy that he could use all summer long. Every single one of the toys that I was staring at right there on the wall was free and clear. There were no loans. He didn't use any financing. He just used his own money, got a good deal, and then would trade up over and over and over again, rinse and repeat. So in principle, this is really simple. I mean, this is the number one rule to selling in the first place. Buy low, sell high, right? But you see, it didn't really hit home, at least it didn't for me, until you see this row of toys that he had all for free. Kelton's simple example has completely and forever changed the way I think about money for the rest of my life. I think in general, when it comes to advice, we all look for a secret or a hidden tip or a trick that we hadn't known before, when really it comes down to the simple basics. Like if I were to tell you to never lose money, okay, duh, like that's an easy thing to do, but how often do we really put that into practice? That's one of the best things about personal finance is really, truly, down to the core, personal finance is easy. The math is not complicated, there's no advanced calculations or formulas. It's really, really simple. If you want to build wealth, you have to spend less than you earn. Plain and simple, there's nothing more to it than that. So now, after learning this lesson, I've told myself that I will never ever buy a brand new vehicle ever again. I shared a previous video where I talk about a really dumb mistake that I made in regards to a car that I purchased. And after learning this lesson from Kelton, like I said, I'll never purchase a brand new vehicle ever again. The reason for that is because I will always lose money. And the lesson I learned was to never lose money, so I'm never gonna do that ever again. And now, because of Kelton's example, I've actually made money on every single vehicle I've ever had since then. So in this example, it helps that Kelton's really mechanically inclined. I mean, he can find something that's broken down, he can fix it up, and then sell it for a profit. But the great thing about this is this principle doesn't apply just to power toys. I've taken this example and applied it to literally every other aspect of my life regarding money. So in my spare time, for example, I'm somewhat of a hobbyist photographer. If I see a new camera body or a new lens or new lighting equipment, I mean, I lust after these things like crazy. I mean, seriously, shut up and take my money. But I've learned that if I purchase these things brand new, I will always lose money. I will never ever make money off the equipment that I purchase. Now, lucky for me, photographers are known for taking really good care of their equipment. And even better than that, photography equipment in itself is known for holding its value really well. So let me give you an example. So this camera lens right here, originally brand new, I think costs, I don't know, let me see. Okay, so this camera lens originally cost $573 brand new. In fact, I think even a year ago, it was more than that. I think it was closer to $650. I love this lens, but I did not pay $650 for it. I went on Craigslist or Facebook or one of those, and I think I found it for $400. Now, originally it was selling for $500 or maybe a little bit more, but I haggled with the seller and I got it down to $400. And now, because this lens holds its value so well, I can use it for a year or 2 years. I can use it all I want, and as long as I don't damage it, I can sell it for exactly the same, if not more, than I originally purchased it for. So now, say for example that I want to try out a new camera lens. I could rent the lens for, maybe $100 a week or $200 a week, but I don't even do that because I'll never make that money back. So what I'll do is I'll buy the lens, I'll use it, maybe I'll like it, maybe I won't. Regardless, I can turn right around and sell it for exactly what I bought it for, if not more. I got to play with a new toy and it didn't cost me a penny. When it comes to selling something, I know the absolute bare minimum that I can sell it for. And that's what I bought it for. Remember, we want to make sure to never ever lose money. And so if someone comes to me and they want to negotiate on price, I know that I cannot go any lower than that price that I purchased it for. Now, this is another lesson that I learned from Kelton, and that is the fact that it'll always sell eventually. It might just take some time. When you're new to selling things, it's often hard to be patient. Say I list something for sale and for a week at a time, I don't get any nibbles or any bites, no interest on it whatsoever. So we start to lower the price, no interest, lower the price, no interest again, lower the price even more, and we just keep hoping that if we keep lowering the price, eventually somebody's gonna buy it. So as I said, this is a lesson that Kelton taught me. If he's flipping a car or a four-wheeler or whatever it may be, he knows how much money he has into it. That's the absolute lowest amount that he's willing to sell it for, but oftentimes he won't even go that low. I mean, he still needs to make money off it. but he'll have it listed for sale, and he knows that if he sits on it long enough, somebody will always buy it. It might take 6 months, it might take a year, it could take 2 years, but eventually somebody will always buy it, and that's how he makes money. He's not in a rush, he's not in a hurry, he knows that it's gonna sell eventually. And that's even another case for not financing vehicles or whatever it may be. Because he owns all of these toys free and clear, he has no payments on them. So whether he sits on it for, a week or 3 months, it doesn't cost him anything extra because he's not making payments on it. So as you know, this channel has a lot of information regarding real estate. My wife and I do everything in real estate, and so this principle absolutely applies to that as well. Let's say we're busy remodeling one of our rental units. We have a tenant moves out, we've got a certain amount of time that we have to kind of spruce it up and fix things up before we get a new tenant in there. Let's say we have a unit that's in really bad shape and we have to replace some countertops. So I go and look at the countertops and I have 2 options. I can do Formica or I can do granite countertops for an additional $2,000. I think to myself, hey, if I put granite countertops in this rental unit, am I ever gonna make that $2,000 back? If I put in Formica versus granite, is the granite gonna make me any more money? And the answer is no. A tenant doesn't care whether you have Formica or granite unless for some reason it's a really high quality rental. But generally speaking, most tenants just don't care. They're just glad to have countertops. Let's say I have a dishwasher that goes out in a rental property. I could go out to Lowe's or Home Depot and I could buy a brand new dishwasher for $600. Am I ever gonna make that $600 back? No, of course not. And so that's why I go to Facebook or Craigslist and I buy a used dishwasher for $100. The simple fact of all this is you just have to ask yourself, will I lose money from this or will I make money from this? In everything that I do before I buy it, I ask myself, can I make this money back? When it's a little bit warmer outside, my wife and I like to take our 4-wheelers and go ride on some, back road mountain trails. We bought those 4-wheelers used at a really good price, significantly lower than what they're actually worth, and we can use them for a year, 2, 3 years, whatever it may be, and when we're done, we can sell them for more than we purchased them for. Now, of course, this is a little bit extreme. There's absolutely gonna be some things that you will always lose money on. Toilet paper, for example, you're literally gonna flush it down the toilet. Or you have to buy groceries and food. You're gonna eat that food, you will never get that money back. But for most cases, just trying to think about the different ways that you can save this money and make sure that you'll always make it back rather than just throwing it away. I guess just to sum up this video, it's really easy to get things for significantly cheaper than paying retail, or you can actually make money off them in the long run. Buy low, sell high, rinse and repeat, and never lose money. With each and every paycheck, with each and every passing day, I want to make sure that my net worth is always steadily increasing. By doing these things, I can live a lifestyle that I want, I can have the toys, I can have all the fun things, but I can make sure that I'm not wasting my money on depreciation. And that, my friend, is the fastest way to wealth. That is it for this video, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I want you to comment down below and share with me some of the ways that you actually do this in your own life. What are some things that you buy at a discount and either sell just to break even or sell to make even more money? If you like what you see, again, be sure to hit that like button, be sure to subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.